everyone, I'm Kelly Manzone. Thank you for joining me. For today's class, we're going to need our stick mobility bundle. So the 2 long sticks, 1 short stick, and if you don't have stick mobility, you could use PVC pipe, wooden dowel, whatever you have accessible to you. You're also going to need access to a sidewall and a ceiling overhead and or an overhead beam. If you have any issues with your knees, you can also use a folded up towel or pillow for some of the exercises that we're going to do today. We're going to focus a little bit more on mobilizing and strengthening our lateral lines further into our strength work, inspired by a couple of my favorite kettlebell exercises. Instead of using a kettlebell, we're going to go into the windmill and overhead rotational squat using our stick mobility. Getting warmed up, just a quick reminder, it's better to perform this class barefoot if you can. If not, maybe wearing a minimalist shoe because I really want you to feel that connection to the ground. Starting with our short stick, we're going to go into our horse stance, so we're wider than hip width, and I want you to take a second to soften into the knees, scoop the tailbone under, and zip up the front line. Beginning with some kayaking, you're going to take the stick to your right hip. I say this every class, but the camera flips me, so even though this is my left hip, I'm going to say it's my right hip so that you could follow along. We're going to put about maybe 20 to 30% of pressure pushing into the stick and then begin kayaking forward as we start to mobilize our shoulders. You're going to keep the eyes forward on the horizon, and I'm a big fan of diaphragmatic breathing, so at any time you could close your mouth. Keep the tongue on the roof of your mouth. Focus on nasal breathing and breathing into the diaphragm instead of shallow breathing into the chest. Now we're going to add a little bit of trunk rotation through our upper body, keeping the hips though facing forward. So as you can see, my eyes are going to follow the direction as I'm rotating to the right and to the left. Let's do 4 more. 1, 2, 3. Now on 4, you're going to park it to the left hip. Heel toe in slightly, so now that the feet are underneath your hip line, and as we kayak forward, we're actually going to go marching in place. I'm going to flex the foot as I draw the knee up, and the stick is going to come across and tap the top of the thigh. You're pushing down into that stabilizing foot, squeezing the seat and getting a little bit of reflexive strength and control from the trunk of the body. Perfect. Remember your breathing, eyes forward, pushing into the stick 20 to 30%. Let's do 6 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Last one. Perfect. Take a moment. Now we're going to kayak backwards. We're returning to that horse stance. Parking the stick on my left hip, pushing up and back. So as you notice, I'm beginning with my hips facing forward, and I want you to try to keep the chest still and isolate through the shoulder girdle, pushing up and back. We're going to do a few more before we add some rotation through the spine. Let's do 3, 1, 2, 3. Now add that rotation. My eyes again are going to lead the head as I look to the left and to the right. Hips continue to face forward. Excellent. Let's go for 6 more. Up and back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. On 6, so you're going to park it on that left hip once again. Now raise the stick right in line with the chest and shoulder height. You're going to take a moment, dip this right shoulder down. So I'm looking out to my left. Instead of crunching into the right hip, I'm thinking of lifting up and out, similar to what we would do with our bow and arrow. Come through center. Transition now to the right. Take this left shoulder, lift out of the hip line. Simply dip that left shoulder towards the left foot. Excellent. Through center, come across once again, lean, dipping that right shoulder down. Feel this right into the rib cage, into the hip. Through center, up and over, And now dip that left shoulder, hold, make sure you're not holding your breath though, and come through center. Take a second, shake out those arms. We're going to go into a few shoulder dislocates. I talk about this often. This is one exercise that's really easy to compensate. Want you to keep the rib cage closed, keep the chin neutral. All fingers are going to stay connected to your stick mobility stick, and we're going to maintain our horse stance throughout. So I'm going to go a little bit on a diagonal, reclaim that horse stance, tailbone under, zipping up that interior line. You're holding wide, eyes forward, pull apart on the stick. You're going to feel that activation of the posterior line. And now we lift above the head, only going back to where you can comfortably. And then as you come forward and the stick passes over the forehead, push into the stick and gently lower. Pull apart again, watching your alignment throughout. And I say this often, never work into pain. Notice again if you begin to lose your form, if you start to compensate somewhere. So take some notes, mental notes throughout class, or you could always write stuff down that you want to work on. Again, pull apart, chin neutral. You'll feel maybe by the third or fourth you could go a little bit deeper. But again, never into pain. Let's just do one more. Pull apart, nice and controlled and slow. Come forward and push into the stick as you lower. Nice work. Now I'm going to face you. We're going to go into some rotation working through the hip. You're going to take your stick in front, right at chest height. And I'm going to demonstrate first. So we're going to go on a 3 count, and the rotation is going to be on the 3rd count. So I'm going to twist T-spine to the right, through center, to the left. And as I go back over to the right, I'm going to pivot, rotate, and follow through. My eyes leading the head are going to follow that rotation, and then we're going to repeat 1, 2, 3 to the other side. Really want you to feel grounded and connected to your feet. Push on that rotation, use the ball of the foot, and then remember to engage your glute. Okay, so stick at chest height. You're in your horse stance. Push in, activate that posterior line. We're going to rotate to the right, 1. Rotate to the left, 2. On 3, back to the right, pivot, follow all the way through. And now here we go, reclaim horse stance. Left to the right, inhale, exhale, push, pivot, squeeze, follow it through. Nicely done. To the right, to the left, draw down, right? So you're not moving that stable leg. That foot is gripping the ground. To the left, to the right, inhale, exhale, rotate, follow it through. Let's do one more on each side. Don't lose your alignment throughout. So we're not going fast, right? I want you to focus on your positioning, breathe, follow it through, nice. Don't forget to engage that glute as you rotate and pivot. Last one. Excellent. Come through center, lower the stick, take a moment, and shake it out. Now we're going to go to one long stick into our bow and arrow. So I talked about in the beginning class, we're going to be working on our lateral lines. Mobilizing first with our bow and arrow. So my stance is wider than hip width. I'm going to take my stick maybe about 2 inches out from the midline of the foot on my right side. The left hand is going to come up, thumb facing down, palm facing forward. My bottom right hand is going to find that sticker. Now, I want you to recall this in a moment when we get to our windmill. So when we perform our bow and arrow, our hip is going to press out first as we go into the bow and arrow versus pushing out with the arms. So you're driving down into the stick, start to grip the ground with the feet, push those hips out, then that bottom arm is going to press out that top hand. It's almost like I'm going to pull with that top arm and activate that lat. I'm pushing down into the feet, the legs are straight, but I'm not hyperextending the knees, and squeezing into the glutes, then flossing the upper body. It's important to note that the chest stays still. Hip line stays still. When you're flossing, you're only moving the arms. Your chin stays neutral. Just like I said earlier with those shoulder dislocates, never go back into pain. Let's do one more. Forward on the sagittal plane, then out, past that frontal line, and then hold, and slowly take it in. Now we're going to go over to the other side. So the stick now is about 2 or 3 inches out from the midline of our left foot. Your right hand, thumb faces down, bottom hand finding that sticker. Pressing out with the hips first, upper body second. Same thing applies. One thing I want you to watch out for, that shoulder shouldn't be hiking up towards your ear. Take that shoulder down. Hold here for a moment, setting up your bow and arrow. Then when you're ready, start to floss. And again, never working into pain. You don't need to go far back. We're just focusing on those lateral lines down into the hip. Let's do 2 more, and then we're going to go back over to the other side for another one. 1 more. Good. And then slowly come out of it. Take a second, shake out those legs, reset. Back over to the right. If you felt like you could always play with your stance. If you felt like you were too narrow, you could go wide. If you're ready for it, you could always cross one foot over the other. So we have left hand, thumb facing down, palm forward, and then take the right hand to the stick, go into your bow and arrow, hold, and then again, floss that upper body. Inhaling and exhaling. Scan for your where your alignment is. Again, that chest is staying still. Let's do 1 more. You're still pushing down into the stick, and then slowly take it in. As you'll notice, sometimes when you're flossing, the stick begins to slide out, especially on a floor like this, but that's okay. Here we go. Right hand, thumb down. Left hand to the sticker. Lead with the hips. Inhale, exhale, press out. Grip the ground with your feet. Once again, take that tailbone under, and then begin your flossing. So after we floss, we're going to work into our feet for a moment, and then we're going to go into that unweighted windmill position. So it's a good thing that we started with some bow and arrow first and slowly come out of it. Good. Now I'm going to go a little bit on a diagonal. Excuse me. Going into your horse stance. Tailbone is under. I want you to take the bottom of the stick and have it angle a little bit towards you, top of the stick a little bit away from you. I have my right hand on top, left hand on the bottom. Taking the shoulders, I'm going to roll them up, down, and back so I have clean posture. And now my outside left foot, very basic. I'm just going to push onto the ball foot, releve, and lower, really working into the toes. Good. Now on the next one, hold here. We do not want to move from the knee or the hip, move from the ankle, circle counterclockwise. So you're going out from your hip line first. Out, in, and around. Good. Let's do 1 more. Keep that horse stance. Now circle inward clockwise. Now this could feel a little bit awkward, or if you have any arthritis through the toes, it can be, a little bit uncomfortable. So I want you to be mindful. Everybody is different. And release. Let's go over to the other side. So come out of your horse stance if needed. You could switch the top hand, pack those shoulders. Now that inside heel, I'm spreading out the toes, really working into the fascia in the bottom of the feet. Let's do 2 more releve, lifting the heel. Good. 1 more. Pause here. Counterclockwise. I'm going clockwise accidentally. So now it's inward. I apologize. So counterclockwise first. Again, working from the ankle, foot-ankle complex, not the knee and hip. Then circle clockwise. In a moment, we're going to stretch the top of the foot. I've done this in a few classes and had some DMs saying, that felt amazing. So we often forget about the front line. And release, shake it out. So getting into that front line, I'm going to still angle the bottom of the stick towards me, top of the stick away from me. I'm going to step forward a little bit with my inside right foot. Then I'm going to take the top of my left foot down. So I feel that nice stretch in the top of the ankle. While you're here, focus on that posture, shoulders down and back, scoop under. I've been doing a lot of rowing and running, and this feels amazing. Hold for a breath or two. Both hands could be on the stick, or you could reinforce the alignment of your pelvis by taking the hand to your hip line, whatever you're comfortable with. Excellent. Come out of it. Shake it out. Other side. So now I got my left leg forward, top of that right foot down, right? Find that position. Pause here, hold for a moment, and just breathe into the stretch. From here, we're going to go into our windmill position in just a moment. Excellent. And release. Okay, so now the feet are alive. We're going to take our stick to our upper mid back, so right between the shoulder blades, and then we're going to push into the stick. Because of the windmill, the bottom of the stick is going to come to the ground. I find that I sometimes need to take the right or my left side here and make it longer. So what I mean by that is you're going to take your stance a little bit wider than hip width. You're going to activate and push into the stick. While you're here, you're going to simply angle the feet over to your right. I'm going to lower my stick just for a moment. This is important to note. So the shoulder is going to stack above the hip line. Then the hip line is going to be above the heel. Oftentimes in a kettlebell windmill, you'll see people with a loose hip just out. We want to create stability and strength through the body. So we're going to start that windmill aligned, gripping that glute, creating stability. So if you were locked out with a kettlebell up overhead, it'd be wrist, shoulder, hip, ankle. But now we're going to do the same thing unloaded. I'm at the top, right? Push into the stick. Now if we were to use a kettlebell, our eyes would be watching the bell, but we're unloaded. As we start to press out with the hips, which is very similar to bow and arrow, I want you to eye the left side, right? The outside of your stick. So starting position, hips begin to press out to my left. Now, chest stays open. This left leg is straight. The right knee is going to soften. And I'm going to lower the stick now to the inside of my right foot. Chest stays open. Depending on your mobility, everybody's mobility and flexibility is different. So if you are here and that's where you could go, that's totally fine. Don't force it. If you're able to come down to the ground comfortably, fantastic. Then you're going to look upward towards the ceiling. Now another key point, right? We're connecting to the feet. So if we were under load, our feet would be our first line of stabilization. So I want you to push into the feet, engage those legs, engage the trunk of the body, and come back up to start. Perfect. We're going to do two more, but now going a little bit faster now that I've explained. Hips out. You're hinging at that hip line, hence that internal rotation of the foot placement, and then hold for a moment. So we don't want this shoulder to collapse forward. We are going to use that stick to help us keep it open. Push into the feet, use those legs, trunk of the body, stack everything, and remember, engage that glute at the top. Create that stability. One more. Perfect. Breathe. So notice if you're starting to hold your breath, hold 4 counts. Hold 1, 2, 3. On 4, engage, push into the feet, use those legs, trunk of the body, and stack. Excellent. Take a moment, lower the stick, grab a sip of water if you need it. We're going to go over to our other side. So I'm going to shorten this a little bit on the left and have more length of the stick on the right. A little bit wider than hip width. Pivot, feet to the left. So we already know our alignment, creating that stability, push into the stick. Engage that glute. Activate. Now, sending the hips out first. Slowly come down. Pause here. Hold. Now I want you to take note of the differences between your right and left side. Remember, this leg is straight. This one has nice soft bend to it. Activate the feet. push, I'm still pushing into the stick. Slowly come to the top. Let's do 2 more. Send out the hip first. Eyes. Soften that left knee. Stick lowers to the ground. Inside of that left foot. Chest stays open. Perfect. Now you'll see why we flossed in the beginning with our bow and arrow before we got into this position. Good. We have 1 more. Hip hinge. Hips out to the right. Proud chest. Focus on your posture. Watch your alignment. Excellent. Not hyperextending this leg even though that's straight. Knee soft. Hold 4 count. Hold 1, 2, 3. On 4. Push into the feet. Activate. Come to start. And squeeze into your right glute. Excellent. Take a second. Shake it all out. I'm going to grab a quick sip of water. And now we're going to move on to the next exercise. We're going to go into our rotational squat. So if you were using a kettlebell, the bell would be pressed up overhead. We would rotate and descend into the squat. Our stick now is going to be in the same position that we had for our windmill, but a little bit lower if necessary. But again, as you can see, I'm keeping it right between the shoulder blades. Taking my squat stance, I'm going to demonstrate first. So I'm going to have more space on the left side. What I'm going to do is descend into my squat, rotating. This right hand's going to come across, come down to the ground, angle, look up to the left, push into the feet, and slowly come up. So we're going to do 4 of these on each side. So have a little bit more space on the left, and you're holding low on the stick to the right. Activate your posterior line, push into the stick. Start to squat, add rotation of the chest. Go to where you are comfortable. Again, never going into pain. I'm going to come a little bit lower. Work into those feet. Inhale, exhale. Come back up to start. Stack everything. Rotate. Descend into your squat. Pause. Hold. Breathe. Push into the feet. Slowly come to stand. So if I was using a bell, my left arm would have the kettlebell and my right would be reaching for the ground. Hold. Slowly come up and stack. Now, I'm just going to simply take it, shorten it on the other side. If you need a break, take a break. Stand tall. Notice the difference when you switch sides. I know for myself, rotation feels a little bit different when I'm on my right side, but right now, you know it as my left. So we're going to rotate, come down, hold for a moment. I just got a nice release, so you're looking upward towards the ceiling. Push into the feet, come to stand. Notice if you're compensating, take those shoulders down and back. So typically, I would kind of have that elbow to the inside of that knee if I was loading this rotational squat with a single arm. Perfect. Come down, hold. Length through the spine. Chest is open. Let's go 1 more. Breathe. Hold. Push into those feet again. Activate the posterior line and come to stand. Well done. Shake it out. Now, I'm just going to take this short stick out of the way. Access to our side wall with both sticks. We're just going to do 5 on each leg. I have to come in a little bit closer because of stepping out of line of the camera. If you want to perform this exercise with your palms pressing into the sticks, you could absolutely do that. For space, I'm coming and stepping in, and what I'm going to do is bend my elbows so that when I'm standing tall, the hands are near my shoulder line. I have to step back just slightly, tailbone under. I'm going to lunge, and a reverse lunge, stepping back with that right leg, and then as I come up, I'm going to extend my arms and elevate the knee, flexing that foot. So we're going to go 5 slow on each side, working that foot-ankle complex, working stability, and similar with the knee lift to our warm-up when we were kayaking. So taking the sticks, shoulder height, reverse lunge, nice and controlled, drive up, 1, pause, I'm pushing into the wall. Pull the sticks into the body as you reverse lunge, drive up, stabilize, 2, excellent. Shoulders down and back, proud chest, inhale, exhale, drive up, feel that connection through that posterior line as you transition from your reverse lunge, draw up, good. 1 more, then we're gonna have a 4 count hold. Drive up, hold, 1, 2, push into the wall, 3, 4, and lower. Good. Taking the sticks, now we're going to lunge back with our left leg. Proud chest to start, watch your alignment, reverse lunge, drive and lengthen. There's that brief pause. Reverse lunge, inhale, exhale, tighten and brace the core, push down into the sticks, 3 more. Inhale, exhale, drive up, find a focal point. That always helps with balance. Spread out those toes, leverage that heel. Good, 1 more. Reverse lunge, drive up, hold, 4 counts. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4, and lower. Now, I'm going to turn away from the side wall, chest facing out. And we've done this in previous classes. We're going to do a bent over row. So I'm going to take my stance hip width apart. Now I have to kind of find that position with the upper body. I'm going to walk out a little bit so the arms are down a bit on a diagonal. I want you to be careful that you don't have an anterior tilt. So you're going to lift the belly, lengthen through the spine, take a moment, pack those shoulders, find the length, grip the ground with the feet, light up that posterior line with the legs, and push back into the wall. The more you push back into the wall, the harder it will be, or the more tension you create with your own body, which is pretty fantastic. So you're looking down, pack those shoulders, inhale, exhale, pull, and then lengthen, staying in tension. Inhale, exhale, pull, elbows in by your side. Stay in tension as you lower. Good, push 90% of your strength. You should be trembling, at least sweating. I don't know where you are, but it's super hot today here. Good. Keep going. Let's go 4 more. Pull, breathe, lengthen. Nice. Pull, exhale. Inhale as you lower. More pressure into the wall behind you. Feel a little bit of the triceps light up. Good. 1 more. Pull, 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 pull. Hold 4 counts. Keep pushing back. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then lengthen. Whew, that felt good. Okay, taking the double sticks to the ground. Grab some water if you need it. We're going to do a very brief dead bug, very basic active hold. So we're going to go into 2 of them. We're not going to add any leg work. I just really want you to focus on lighting up the anterior line and noticing if you begin to disconnect from the floor. So if you're working with a client with dead bugs, and maybe some of you have used this before in the past, you could take a long band or a towel right underneath that tailbone. As they get into the dead bug, gently pull, and if you're able to move it, they've disconnected. So coming down, excuse me, you're lying on your back. Because I'm talking to the camera, I'm going to keep my head elevated. You could always use a pillow or a towel, personal to you. You could keep your head up if you want to make it more challenging. You would have a slight tuck. So ankles are in line with the knees. Knees are above the hip line. I haven't even done anything yet, but now I add that little tilt or tuck of the tailbone up, and I'm pressing down into the floor. Now my thighs are going to push into the stick, and then my palms are going to press into the stick forward into the thighs. So I'm just going to grab my timer, so that I could keep count. We're gonna go for 2 10-second holds. I've had this timer for 18 years. It's still going strong. I like to go old school. Okay, so here we are. Everybody get into your position. Now push, breathe. So you're keeping the rib cage closed. If a 10-second hold is too long, do what you can and then take a rest. We're almost there. 3 more seconds. Really push, breathe, 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 and recover. So if you recover and you feel tension in your back, you may need to shorten your time, or you may need to really focus on keeping that connection to the floor. Take a second if you need to. Wiper the knees from side to side. Now we're going to try another 10 seconds. I want you to apply a little bit more pressure than you did the first time. So ankles right in line with the knees. You could always use a yoga block to reinstate the position. Knees above that hip line. Take a second. Boom. There it is. Now head can be up or down. I've got my timer. Now push. Breathe. Head up or down. Stay with it. Let's see if we could go to 20 seconds. So we have 10 seconds left. Keep pushing. Right? Watch where the tension is going. Out of your neck, out of the shoulders. Almost there. And recover. Excellent. Take the stick to the side for a moment. Knees, little wiper, side to side. Before we go into our stretching, we're going to do 1 set of V-ups. We did this in last week's class. So as you go to lean back, you're going to pull apart on the bar. And as you come up and the bar goes over the knees, or the stick goes over the knees, you're going to push in. That pushing in is going to create a little bit of stability. I'll demonstrate one, and then we're going to go for 6 together. So pull apart, push. So that's what it's going to look like. Pull apart, push. 6, not too fast. And again, you could always modify if needed. You could just take your hands to the floor and go for a V-up without the stick. So pull apart on the stick, come back, inhale, exhale, knees in, proud chest, pull apart, inhale, exhale, 2, pull apart, push in, 3. Very nice, we're already halfway. Inhale, exhale, 4, and 5. Just one more, we'll do a 4 count hold. Pause, 1, 2, keep pushing, 3, 4, and release. Now we're going to get into our stretching. Coming up with a single stick. I'm going to put my timer back. Also lets me know if I'm going over time with class. So my left foot is going to face forward. My right foot is going to face out. Going into that warrior position, similar to yoga. I taught yoga back in the day. So now my stick is going to be about 1 inch or so out from the right foot. And again, left foot gripping the ground. Top left hand and bottom right hand. Pressing out into the bow. So I could find here that I could go a little bit wider. And now I'm going to pull with my top left arm, bottom right shoulder, down away from the ear. Feel that nice stretch through the inner thigh of that left side. You can even inch that foot out if needed. Now, from here, similar to a triangle pose, you're going to lengthen. I'm going to slide that hand down just a little bit. And then go into the stretch once again. So tailbone is under, chin is neutral, right? So you shouldn't be jutting your neck forward into straining. This should feel nice and not uncomfortable. Hold and lengthen. Good, let's do one more. So I'm going to press out as I bend into that right knee. Leverage and pull back with that top left arm. Look up towards the ceiling, hold 4 counts. Hold 1, 2, 3. On 4, we slowly come out of it. Take your stick center so you don't shock the hips. Heel toe in and shake it out. Now, right foot again facing forward, gripping the ground. Left foot is going to be turned out towards the wall. chest is open, tailbone is under. Everybody's body is different, so please don't work into discomfort or pain. Bottom left hand near that sticker, right hand. So as I press out with that bottom left arm, I'm pulling back with that top right arm. Tailbone under, hold. The lateral lines are nice and loose after the work that we've done. And we've also focused on strengthening them today. Lengthen that bottom leg without hyperextending, and again, shoulder down. Go into it once again. You could always wiggle out and widen your stance if needed. Focus on your breathing. All right. Lengthen. Good. Let's do one more. Pause here. Tailbone under, scan. Now angle, look upward towards the ceiling. Hold 4 counts. Hold 1, 2, 3. On 4. Slowly come out of it. Take your stick center, heel, toe in safely. Grab your other stick. I apologize, we did not get to do the dumpy squats today. They're going to be in next week, so I was trying to keep up with the time, and I realized we didn't have time for it today. But anyway, you're going to take your sticks, press them forward. So I don't want your arms up too high, I want them down on a diagonal, because when you take your arms over to your right, I want you to create a triangle. So you are planted with the feet, and then you're going to reach the crown of the forehead forward, or crown of the head forward. So the chin should clear far over that bicep. And the both arms here are lengthened, and then I want you to turn your head towards the left, inhaling and exhaling, and then towards the right. Love this one, getting right behind that shoulder blade. Breathe. Similar to what we did in our warm-up now, find that length. I want you to dip this left shoulder now towards the left foot. Hold 4 counts. Hold 1, 2, 3. On 4, recenter, and slowly come out of it. Well done. Arms now over to the right. So the sticks are in the arch of the feet. Stand tall at first. Hinge forward. Center the head, right? So you're not shifting your body weight yet. Arms are nice and straight. And then inhale, exhale. Mobilize that neck. This is a great time to practice that diaphragmatic breathing as you look right and left. Then when you're here, pause, dip that right shoulder down towards the right foot. Hold 4 counts. Hold 1, 2, 3. On 4, slowly come to stand. Take a moment, roll out, forward and back. Now we're going to simply widen our stance and do the same thing. So our warrior position prepped us for this next one. So we're wide, sticks to the inside of the arch, take both hands over towards your right. Deep bend now into that left knee. Now I'm going to keep length through the spine and lean into it. Both arms are straight. So it has a similar sensation of that hanging feeling that we do with monkey hang, which is another fantastic stick mobility drill that I love. Hold here. I'm really gripping the ground with the feet. Now I'm not putting my body weight forward into the foot. I'm keeping it flat and I'm pulling my body weight back. Come out of it, up and over to the other side. Bend deeply into that right knee. Lean, I'm looking upward on a diagonal towards the ceiling. Focus on your breathing. You could go as wide or as narrow as needed. And again, never going into pain. Hold 4 counts. Hold 1, 2, 3. On 4, push into that right foot. Up and over to the other side. Hold here. Breathe. 4 counts. Hold 1, 2, 3. On 4, now you're pushing off that left side. Arms transition through center. back over to the right, gripping the ground with the feet, looking upward on a diagonal towards the ceiling, or you can look down wherever you're comfortable with. 4 counts. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4, and slowly come out of it. Take both sticks in front, heel toe in safely. So the last 2 exercises, I did have a couple of requests. Last week we did both snake reach and the seated QL stretch. So they're back by popular demand. And we're going to begin with the right leg forward and coming to half kneeling for our snake reach. With the back foot, you have a couple of options. You could anchor with the ball of the back foot to create some stability. I like to take top of the foot down and windshield wiper that back foot. You're going to take your stick to the inside of your right thigh. Left hand comes up with the thumb facing down. Now, this is an intense stretch, so if it's uncomfortable for you to lengthen that top arm, or if this is brand new to you, you could always begin with a soft bend to that elbow, like so, and slide the hand down so there's a little bit less length through the forearm. Right hand is going to come away from the body, so you have this nice space between your shirt and the stick, and you're simply going to weave the arm through, slide the stick back. Bottom right hand is going to locate the bottom of the stick. That could slide out. Now I'm going to squeeze that left glute. We had some practice with our windmill earlier, and rotate. The shoulder is down. And after doing all that lateral line work, I have to say, this feels pretty good and not as intense as it normally would. Now, come out of it for a moment, open into that open side, and then deep breath in through the nose, exhale through the nose if you're diaphragmatically breathing, or you could breathe through the mouth, and rotate inward once again. Hold here, keep that seat squeezed. 4 counts, hold 1, 2, 3, on 4, open up, bend that left elbow, and slowly come out of it. Great. Going over to the other side. Left leg is forward. I'm going to kickstand or windshield wiper that back foot. You could anchor if you'd like. So that right hand, thumb faces down. Here's that left arm. Slide through. Rotate now. Squeeze through that right glute. Look over your left shoulder. Pause here. Hold. And then open into that right side, and then you could go deeper into your stretch if you'd like. This side always feels a little bit more awkward for me. Hold the 4 counts. Hold 1, hold 2, no straining, 3, on 4, we slowly come through center, soften that elbow, and gently release. So if you want to use your towel now or pillow, you can. And we're going to come down with the left leg straight, right foot to the inside of the left thigh. You're going to take your stick behind you so that the stick is in the arch of the foot on the left side. Now, I'm going to take my right shoulder, again, down away from that ear, no straining. If you're sitting on the pillow, that'll help. If you really struggle with that knee coming down, right? So it shouldn't be up here, it should be down. But if you sit on the tailbone, that might help. Now, we're going to rotate the knuckles, corkscrew them upward towards the ceiling, or you could flex the palm. And I'm going to push forward into the stick, taking my left hand over to the right. Chest is open. I'm dipping the left shoulder a little bit, or you could hold down low towards the foot if you want to grab it, or the stick. Lean back. So we're going to use the fact that we have that stick behind our back to kind of leverage it to get deeper into the stretch. And hold 4 counts. Hold 1. Create space here and breathe. 2, 3, and on 4, slowly come out of it. Good. going over to the other side now. So if you need to adjust your towel or pillow, please do so. Stick inside of the arch. Now again, left side here, you could either corkscrew the knuckles so you roll that shoulder down and back. That's one option. Second option, flex that palm. Again, that bottom right hand could be catching the ball of the foot if you would like, catching low, or once you're in that spot, you could take your right hand across and press down. And I want you to breathe into that QL, look upward towards the ceiling, calm neck. Again, watch that shoulder, push in, and I'm also leaning back my upper body into the stick. Hold 4 counts. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4, and release. Perfect. Take a moment, stick to the floor, palms to the ground behind you, proud chest, and think of the knee going to 12 o'clock, little moving 90-90. Excellent. Thank you so much for joining me for today's class. I'm Kelly Manzone, and you can find me on Instagram at kelsbells88. This class will be later uploaded to the Instagram page and Stick Mobility YouTube, and they also have their Movement Made Better podcasts, which I highly recommend that you check out. Please feel free to DM me or Stick Mobility directly with any questions you may have, and I'll see you next week. Take care.